CNBC's Evolve Summit taking place in Chicago, and it focuses on how companies that have been mainstays in the world of business are innovating and yet evolving to meet today's marketplace's demands. And right now, we want to head over to the summit in Chicago with our own Becky Quick, and she's joined by a very special guest. Becky.
Hey, Andrew, it's good to see you guys. We have some very special CEOs who are here today. These are leaders who have made extreme changes and extreme evolutions to deal with some pretty extreme times. Greg Brown is here. He's the chairman and CEO of Motorola Solutions. And Greg, it is great to see you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So we're all about evolve. And if you look at Motorola Solutions versus where you were, let's say 2008, this is a very different company. You've gone from being a company that we thought about just for consumer, razor phones, things like that,
right,
to somebody who is selling to governments. These are mission critical components. How different is the company? How'd you kind of get here?
It's amazing. I mean, if you think 10 or 12 years ago, think of Motorola as a big multi-business conglomerate, consumer-centric, cellular-centric, selling cell phones in the wireless cellular infrastructure business. We kind of cleared the field and said we're going to focus on what we do best. The origination of the company was public safety and mission critical communications. So today, think of us more of a pure play around mission critical communications and intelligence. We do mission critical networks. There's 13,000 public safety networks around the world that provide first responders that immediate
stuff like dispatch, stuff like body cameras for police officers.
Well, we do three. We do the communications, we do the 911 command center software, and we do video security and analytics. So those walkie-talkies, if you will, those radios for police, fire, paramedic, military, there's 6,000 911 command centers in the country. When people call 911, how do you take the call? How do you process? How do you dispatch? How do you enter information into records and evidence management? And then more recently, video security, both fixed, dash cam, and body worn. Totally different company, 3 platforms, software and services that wrap around it, and it's going well.
Well, the street likes you a lot better today because you're not selling to consumers, you're selling to governments. It's a more stable form of revenue, and it's a recurrent form of revenue. So the reports I've been reading say that they like you much better as a result of that. In fact, it's really paid off if you're looking at the stock price over the last 3 years, or even over the life of the time that you've been at the company, too.
Yeah.
I know it's been massively outperforming the market just over the last 3 years if you look at that stock. When you're dealing with governments today, I guess part of the issue is governments seem to have some money. They're flush times. What happens if there's an economic downturn?
Well, here's the nice thing. Given what we sell, it's a need to have, not a nice to have. So when times are good, obviously we ride that wave of budget availability and funds and convert that into revenue and backlog. But even when the economy slows a bit, because we're at the higher end of the food chain and you have to have this equipment, you want to protect the communities. You want to secure the citizens. You have to have emergency communications. They have to be encrypted. They have to be spectrally efficient and more modernized. The growth will vary depending upon the overall economy, but we're pretty steady, and more of our revenue, to your point, Becky, is annuity recurring. Roughly a third of the company's revenue is software and services. That's effectively a proxy for recurring revenue. So we're able to shock absorb better than other companies the economic variabilities.
In terms of what your growth potential is, one of the reports I looked at said that you're only right now in about 2/3 of the public safety answering points, and only 25% of your customers have bought 2 or more applications. So where are you? Where do you think you can expand?
Yeah, I think we're in the early innings. If our overall revenue is $8 billion, the addressable market for the markets we serve is just under $40 billion. So we can use the incumbency that we have in mission critical communications, the lower penetration that we have in 911 command center software, and on video security and analytics. If you take worldwide market share, we're single digit. If you take America's, we're number 4. There's room to run, and there's room to grow.
You were one of the very first companies that made its way into China. 1986, yeah. Motorola pushed in?
Yeah.
What was that, the smartphones?
Yeah, so way back when, the Galvin family made the decision to get into China in 86. It was a good decision. At the peak of being in China, maybe 17 or 18 years ago, Motorola had 15,000 people, $3.5 billion of revenue. Today, we have 130 people and about $130 million of revenue.
So you were one of the first to get in and one of the first to get out.
Effectively, yes. We don't do manufacturing. We don't do software development. We don't do product development. I think China's obviously a huge market with 1.4 billion people. However, for what we do, for security, for mission-critical public safety, for technology protection, innovation, IPR, technology transfer, it's not a market that's good for us to be in overall.
Meaning what? You can't serve U.S. Public law enforcement and China, or because you're a U.S. company, they're not going to be using you?
No, I would say, so we sued Huawei. We had issues with Huawei, resolved that.
Because they stole your IP?
Well, we resolved that litigation.
Because they stole your IP.
I can't get into the details. Now, what I could say, though, Becky, is right now we're suing another company, Hytera, a Chinese provider. Patent infringement, trade secret misappropriation, source code theft. And they've had a multi-year system egregious campaign to steal from Motorola. There's a jury trial November 1st here in Chicago, and I look forward to that trial.
So you think the administration's doing the right thing by cracking down on China right now?
I do. I think the administration taking a stand against China is absolutely the right thing and long overdue.
But you kind of said, forget it, you washed your hands of it a long time ago because of these practices.
I just thought that the risk was too great. It didn't have the commensurate return. I like what the administration's doing. Now, you know, all of the individual tactics and so on are, the tariffs do provide somewhat of a headwind. For us, they're negligible, and we could absorb it in 2019. But overall, the country's taken the right stand in terms of a harder, accountable position against China. It's the right thing to do. It's long overdue.
You've got a lot of good things going for the company, but if there's one thing you worry about, what would it be?
Complacency. So you talked about stocks up this year, stocks up over the last 3 years. In my 12-year tenure, we've outperformed the market, transformation. There's a whole laundry list of things to talk about that's good. In a way, I don't like that. Our success has been we stay on the balls of our feet. We have an edge that's constructive. We keep our ear to the ground for our customers. We like to compete and win. So while I'm happy about the success, I want to compartmentalize it and put it in the rearview mirror. It's all about moving forward. Now, we got the right team. By the way, half of our employees, over half of the entire company, are new in the last 4 years. So the cultural change, the speed of innovation, organic investment, inorganic acquisitions, the pace is good. I like the cards that we have. We just have to execute and stay focused.
Hey, Greg, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us
today. It's always good to see you, Becky.
Again, Greg Brown, who's the chairman and CEO of Motorola Solutions.